Hello, this is Fred at Nozzle Supply. We're just right now we're going to be showing the advantages of our Mydata Mycronic Midas tools that we're making. These are substitute for OEM tools from Mydata Mycronic. Anyway, here is an old stamping tool that was made by Mydata. I'm going to show a couple of the deficiencies. This is the older style. It has, these had the stainless body, but they had the same flat spring as the current production. And you can see that when I rotate on the shaft, that the spring is already destroyed, but you can see the distortion that happens in that spring just with a little bit of rotation on it. And we do rebuilding of Mydata Mycronic tools here, and fully 1/3 of the ones that come in here for rebuilding have had the springs destroyed by someone grabbing hold of this and twisting it. On the new style, that spring is covered by a black anodized piece, and you cannot see the spring, so you destroy it without even knowing that you've done it. And the results will be something like this tool. Instead of being extended, it's retracted. So you pull it extended, let go of it, and it springs back to the retracted position, so it's just wrecked. When we rebuild these tools now, we have to put a counterbore on there, so we've taken the black anodizing off and bored out the tool, and we'll put a key piece in there to hold alignment so that it's an anti-rotation device, so the slider will not rotate, and effectively does the same thing as Mydata's flat spring. Well, that's the main deficiencies in the original tooling. Here's the new tools that we make. And this is the way they'll come. I have a spare slider in that, and we've had people lose the sliders, and we recommend that you keep the slider in the bag till you need it and put it in a safe place with all of them so that you don't lose it, and it'll be there when you need it. There's our new Mydata tool, Midas tool, and the slider that comes with. One of the first advantage on ours is you have a spare part that you can, when you've had an accident, you've wrecked the slider, you take the old one apart, strip the spring off the old slider, install it on the new slider. Gravity will pull it down a little bit on one side or the other. And ours has a key on the front of it. You need to miss the spring when you install it, so we'll install it with a keeper on the upside. Now we need to line up the key slot. We've lined that up now. Put a little tension on the end of the slider there, and that'll stick the slider out far enough to get the nut started. And we tighten the nut up. And in that length of time, you have basically a new tool ready to run with just a little over a minute's downtime. And this is something you cannot do with the Mydata tools. And just to show you a little bit faster how fast this can go. And there we do, in less than a minute, ready to go. Okay, we're going to show an additional point on these old Mydata style tools. This sleeve on the back end is pressed on with an enormous amount of, has a very severe press fit on it. And in process of assembling these, Mydata, these tubes will buckle a little bit from the force, and that causes a little bit of resistance to the sliding motion there. And we had customers that would send us brand new tools from Mydata, have us rebuild them and using our interchangeable sliders, and say they worked much better than the original tools. Mydata since has come out with second generation of black tools that use this this arrangement here. They've got an aluminum slider that's black anodized. They've used a little brass keeper to trap the flat spring in there. Then the tubing is pressed or glued into that aluminum slider. This is, on their part, is a much better arrangement. It still has the deficiency of the flat spring there that is very easily destroyed by twisting on it. Here's an example of that. And they provide no spare parts, even though with this new style slider it could be rebuilt, but Mydata doesn't supply tools or spare parts for doing this. So we still have the advantages of our tools that can be pulled apart for replacing bent tubes and slider combination. You can pull them apart for maintenance. Another advantage here is you cannot take a Mydata tool apart to do maintenance on it. You're picking up components, placing them on a circuit board. They're made out of ceramic. There's a certain amount of ceramic dust on each one of these components. This dust gets sucked up into it. The Mydata design is a good design because the dust is conducted through the tube on, off, and above the tool, and it'll be caught by the filter. Most of it will stay out of the off the sliding component, but over a month's time, you will get some accumulation of ceramic dust there, which is almost diamond hardness, and there will be a certain amount of solder flux residues that also kind of gum things up. With our tool, you can take it apart. I'll grab one that's ready for rebuilding. Use soap and water, detergent, and on a brush, you can clean that out. Use a soap and water on the slider, then a paper towel to dry any clean any residue off it. Assemble the thing, and you're ready to go for the next run. And saves a lot of time and money on maintenance and spare parts. Well, that's how we do it at Nozzle Supply.